Yo yo yo, it's me, ya boy, Vax, coming with a new game to review. Have you ever had the masculine urge to just grab a piece of iron that is in your grandfather's basement, just hammer it till it becomes your your sword, ready to retake Constantinople? Do you like pixel games? Do you like history? Well, good news, my fellow weeb. I have the game just for you. I present Anvil Saga. Also, before we go, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to this channel. It really helps me and it lets me get more games to review and whatnot. Alright, let's get into it. Anvil Saga is a side-scrolling pixel graphic game, which is also a sim management game where you play as Arthur. You're a son of a pretty renowned blacksmith and you have a simple task. Make your father's forge what it was and bring its fame back to the glory days. How do you do that? You complete orders from various people, from peasants to nobles. You smith what they need. To do this, you need ores, which you can either buy from the shop, and then they will use the medieval version of a Uber service, which is ironically more reliable than the real-life modern equivalent, lol. Or build a mine and send your apprentice down there to do all of the shitty hard work for you. And since it's the medieval era, it's part of the job description. You use those ores in a smelter to smelt them into ingots, which then you use to forge stuff. Pretty simple and realistic, am I right? Now, after some time gathering funds and shit like that, you need to upgrade your forge. How do you upgrade it though? Well, it's kind of blocked. It's not just money, you need fame. How do you acquire fame, you might ask? By pimping out your fucking house. No, I am not even kidding. You have to get your house a makeover. Better looking house equals you have more money equals more street cred, my homie, and that's how it was back in the day, but also kinda today as well, which means that we haven't pretty much changed for 1,000 years. With that, you can upgrade the furnace and take better orders, gain access to better stuff like a sharpening stone, which then you can use to take sharpening orders or sharpen an existing order. A library where you can buy books, which are pretty expensive by the way, so you can learn other techniques like better smelting, tampering, armor smithing, and shit and whatnot. You also, if you do, take apprentices, and which you should do because if you're going by yourself, it's like trying to win a pub brawl by yourself. You just can't, and you're gonna get your ass kicked. And if you do that, you need to build rooms and add appropriate furniture with it, just like any other rooms. Every kind of room has their own furniture, which you have to buy for it to work. Also, you need to pay taxes. Yes, you cannot escape that, my friends, and this is the medieval age. You commit tax fraud, you're getting your head chopped. Lastly, you have to manage also Arthur and your workers, because they need to eat and sleep as well, dumbass, so make sure you buy enough food and have enough beds to do so. Also, you need to pay them. This is feudalism, not capitalism. You're kinda obligated to pay your workers. You heard me right, Americans. Also, there are seasons in these games, which give buffs, but also nerfs during your run. And they kind of present you with interesting kind of challenges, let's just say that. But this game's main seller is its story. See, this game is just story driven, and this makes sure that this game is just not your simple side-scrolling adventure, my friend. You see, you're in the 100-Year War period, and you have to balance between the two main factions, and may God forgive me for uttering the names, the French and the English. You see, Arthur and his family are originally from England, but they went to France and found work there. You'll have to face a dilemma, whether one way or another. Who do you want to support? Do you support Arthur's native country because he is an Englishman and he's very connected to that identity? Or do you support the country that gave you a place to be, you and your family? and your loved ones. But this isn't the only important decision to make. You will have constant orders that will shape the fucking world around you. You have to constantly upgrade your smithy. You have to manage your apprentices, balance the favor between the 3 other factions, bar the 2, which are the bandits, the witches, and of course the bloody fucking church. And you also have a rival who is ironically called Jean-Jacques. I hope I didn't butcher his fucking name. But also you have to try to win the heart of your love interest and approval of her father. But also your lord, because you are a serf at the end of the day. All of this juggling is really hard to do. And by the way, you cannot please all sides. If you take an order from a French soldier, you will lower the opinion of the English. If you take an order from a witch, you will lower the opinion of the church, and vice versa. It takes you to the point where you just have to pick your poison and benefits. You see, lowering and gaining approval in this game, or disapproval of the factions in this game, give you bonuses, but also nerfs. For instance, from the top of my head, if you gain a pretty good liking by the French, you can delay the time by a day for you to pay your tax. Or if the witch is like, you can just hurl a fucking lightning bolt at them and delay them from taking your tax for 3 days. Poetic. But there are downsides to it as well. For instance, if you manage to piss off the English, for instance, from the top of my head, the building costs go up or they take longer time to build. I cannot remember right, and it wasn't that much of a fucking nerf, to be honest. But if you piss off the church, oh boy, that one is a pain in the arsehole. And that's a level 1 grudge, might add, out of 3. You see, if you're not on their good side, they will at night ring their bell constantly, preventing you to sleep and your apprentices. Good luck trying to fucking rest up that energy bar and taking a metric shit ton of orders late game, by the way. Now that was one true pain in the ass, and that's just level 1. I was too afraid to learn what the fuck is the other. Also, if you piss off the bandits, at level 1 at least, they're gonna come and take your shit. Or worse. I was too afraid to piss them off more, by the way. So I don't know what happens at level 2 or 3. So basically, you have to micromanage with everyone. You gotta have somebody to please, but you also have to pick your poison for that, mate. Now, this game also has moments that kinda change the course of the story and the world around you. Now, this is a spoiler-free fucking review, but all I can say is pick who you're gonna back up in the war, because there are consequences for your actions. Not just that, though. It also kinda literally changes the background. For instance, at the start it's more peaceful, but for instance I picked the French because historically they won, and also they're better than the fucking English. You'll have like army camps starting to pop up around your village and shit like that. Also, during the scenes, in the important moments, the world kind of presents you a scenario. For instance, the war is ramping up in this playthrough I did, and you and the workers are stressed because of that. And that gives you some buffs, but also a lot of nerfs. Your people and Arthur are stressed. Therefore, when you're smithing, you're gonna make mistakes, taking longer for you to smith. Oh, and oh boy, do the customers have a fucking short attention span, because they're not gonna wait for a long time. Also, shipping is slow, or you just cannot fucking order. Prices of resources go up. But there's a benefit, for instance, that the soldiers come to you more than the peasants. And soldiers take bigger orders, which means a lot more money. But also there's a downside to that. Remember when I said if you take an order from a soldier of that specific faction? Well, it will fuck your faction point relationships, so you're gonna have to pick your poison again, like I said. Or it just starts to rain, and many people are just not coming to your forge more often. But your choices really matter because you will have quests upon quests. You have limited resources. There are some quests which you cannot refuse. You will fail some of them, honestly. For instance, I had a multitude of choices I can do. Then Arthur's romantic interest came, and she ordered some farming tools. I didn't have enough resources to do all this. But you see this fucking beard? This guy is a wizard. I'm not gonna cuck him out of a romantic interest, so I just put on my Riz fucking form and just did her orders. I pissed off a lot of people. The fuck it. You gotta Riz this chick up, you know? Funny thing is this. When you think of this game, you might think the story is just your plain old, sloppily written, fast written, whatever you want to fucking call it, story, and the characters are usually meh in this type of game. But in this game, it's well written. You see, your love interest is not just a pretty face. She actually has character and character development. She has a personality. For instance, she's a dedicated humanitarian, and she'll often give you jobs so that you can help the peasantry, despite her father's tendency to bleed people's purses dry because he's a fucking merchant. There's also Jean-Jacques. He's like your stereotypical fucking rival, but he's not that badly written, honestly, in my opinion. There's also the Baron and the Duke, who have their own interests, story, character. This game is really well written because of this. And also, it really does a good job mixing serious tone with lighthearted humor. Speaking of that humor, there's a lot of side quests who are just Easter eggs. For instance, you're helping Link forge his sword. You're helping Walter White to make his distillery for liquor to help the taverns. There's also like Doctor Who coming up so you can make a bracelet for his sonic screwdriver, or Joan of Arc, for instance, and many more people who are Easter eggs, to say the least. And I suggest you take those jobs because they give fame and also a shit ton of coin. Now, at the end, I always talk about the graphics and the audio of these games, so let's just straight up get into it. Frankly, this game really does resemble a lot of RPGs of the old, but it has a modern take. The style is cartoonish, and instead of trying to imitate real life. And by the way, this is not a critique. It actually does a well job. Every character is unique. There's a lot of detail in this game, and every single NPC also kind of stands out from the rest. You can also feel the heat when it's hot. Your characters are sweating. The background is very lively. You can see people coming, going, soldiers building up tents and shit like that. The color palette also is very bright and lively during the day. At night, it's much cool and calming. It really is pleasing to the eye, and it's not like old school. You can see it's a modern take of it. The audio of this game, well, the music mostly, it really feels like an old RPG, and it's not bad in itself. It's not good, but it's not that bad. It's right in the middle of something. It's a catchy and lively tune. It kind of makes you feel like you're in a medieval tavern, and you feel that vibe when you're playing this game, and it kind of helps you zone out and focus on the game. And honestly, it fits the vibe of the whole game as a whole. That's it. All in all, this game is pretty damn okay. I highly recommend you buy this game, honestly. It's just a nice game to vibe and pass the time. And if you somehow made it this long, I'm gonna say this again, do be sure to like and subscribe, because it really does help the channel. I'll see you all next time, and be sure to check out my previous video if you want to, which I think you will enjoy. See ya!